Live from the Vodafone Gigabit Broadband Studio in Waterford and Dungarvan, this is Waterford at 1 News.
Good afternoon, I'm Karen Tomkins. Today's top stories. Independent TD Noel Grealish is under fire for comments he made about money being sent to Nigeria. First-time buyers in Waterford are spending up to 21% of their monthly income paying their mortgage. Actor and comedian Neil Tobin has died at the age of 89. And in sport, Waterford's Leo Connor will make his senior debut for the Republic of Ireland against New Zealand tomorrow night. Independent TD Noel Grealish is under fire for comments he made about money being sent to Nigeria. The Galway TD questioned whether personal remittances being sent to Nigeria were the proceeds of crime. Our political correspondent Sean Defoe.
Noel Grealish was yesterday called a racist in the Dáil after he raised a question about personal remittances. He cited figures from the World Bank saying hundreds of millions of euros being sent from Ireland to Nigeria every year, more than any other country, he claimed. Finance Minister Paschal Donohoe queries those figures.
The level of money involved in this is between 17 to 20 million euro per year, so a significantly lower level than the figures that Deputy Grealish is using.
Solidarity TD Ruth Coppinger has called Mr Grealish a racist.
If the Deputy is very concerned about money leaving the country, he could look no further than Apple, Google, Facebook and many other multinationals who have huge turnover here.
The Taoiseach also said the figure is not hundreds of millions, as Noel Grealish claimed.
So we believe that World Bank Migration and Remittances Factbook in respect of remittance flows between Ireland and Nigeria are open to serious scrutiny.
There's been calls for Deputy Grealish to correct the Dáil record. Sean Defoe, Leinster House.
First-time buyers in Waterford are spending up to 21% of their monthly income paying their mortgage. The finding is part of a new ESRI study which looked at the affordability of the national housing market. It now costs an average of €187,000 to get on the property ladder in Waterford. That's a 64.7% jump in 5 years. The average monthly mortgage repayment for first-time buyers here is €713, around 21% of monthly income. Conor Purcell from Purcell Auctioneers says that getting out of the rental market can be very difficult.
But what it certainly does illustrate is that an average rent of £1,000 a month, and even if that 713 figure is slightly distorted and it should be say 813 or whatever the case may be, it certainly illustrates that rents are at a significantly higher level, and I think it's particularly difficult for a first-time buyer who is trying to sustain £1,000 a month of rent while trying to put away on a monthly basis savings to enable him put up a deposit for the purchase of a property.
A West Waterford councillor is calling for tougher measures to tackle antisocial behaviour in local authority housing estates. Fianna Fáil councillor Tom Cronin wants a workshop with Gardaí and the council to take place in order to crack down on problem tenants. Speaking to Damien Tiernan on Daisha today, he says that stricter policies need to be adopted.
We have to get tougher with them. If the Gardaí are involved in it, which they should be, we can charge them and bring them to court. And listen, they signed up to a tenancy agreement. And some of the things that they signed up to, they're not obeying. So if it comes to evicting someone of a house, and I don't like using that word, but if it comes to that, well then, that's it.
Councillor Cronin believes that neighbours are reluctant to report others because they feel intimidated.
They are drunk, and in some cases, drugs involved. And they can be violent, I would imagine, because when they start rows out on the street, yes, there is people out there that are intimidated and are afraid to bring this to the law.
Actor and comedian Neil Tobin has died at the age of 89. His family say he passed away in Dublin earlier today following a long illness. Brendan O'Loughlin reports.
Born in Cork in 1929, Neil Tobin's long career began in radio drama in the 1950s. From there, he took to the stage and both the big and small screens with roles in cinema and TV. He starred in Ballykissangel and the movie Veronica Guerin and was awarded an IFTA Lifetime Achievement Award in 2015. A documentary about his life was made earlier this year and is due to be shown on TV around Christmas. Neil's wife Judy died in 2002. He leaves behind his 5 children and 7 grandchildren.
A 41-year-old Tipperary man has been jailed for 12 years for raping and sexually assaulting his foster daughter when she was just 16. Our courts correspondent Frank Graney has this report, which some listeners may find distressing.
Ciara Monaghan waived her right to anonymity so Richard Maloney could be named. His trial heard his wife went to Kerry for the weekend in mid-July 2016 and Ciara invited her friend over to stay, something Maloney wasn't happy about. He bought them alcohol and made them play drinking games. The girls became very drunk and her friend went upstairs to Ciara's bed. Maloney then forced himself on his foster daughter in the living room of their home in what Mr Justice Alex Owens described as a violent and degrading assault. He then raped her in the bed he shared with his wife. The court accepted that Maloney lied under oath during his trial and blamed Ciara for what happened, accusing her of sexually assaulting him. Mr Justice Owens said it was very difficult to identify any significant mitigating factors before jailing him for 12 years, a sentence that was welcomed by Ciara afterwards.
I'm very pleased with the outcome of today, although no time will ever be long enough for any man or woman who is capable of doing this. After 3.5 long years of what I can only describe as torture, I hope from today that I can take back my life and that Richard takes back all of the blame, guilt, shame and anger that he has caused me.
Frank Graney at the Central Criminal Court.
University Hospital Waterford is one of the worst hit hospitals for patients on trolleys this year. The INMO says over 100,000 patients have gone without beds across Irish hospitals in 2019 so far. University Hospital Limerick is the worst hit, followed by Cork University Hospital. University Hospital Waterford is the fifth worst. 5,522 people here have gone without a bed so far this year. There's plans to attract more tourists to Waterford over the next 2 years. Visit Waterford, which is a collaboration between tourism providers and Waterford Council, have relaunched their website. They're also marketing the county both nationally and internationally. Mayor of Waterford is Councillor John Pratt.
It is imperative on us to improve our PR and our advertising and getting it out there. And look, Visit Waterford is another step in the right direction. As you know, we would have won the foodie destination of 2019 as well, and that's all part of this. It's all positive, and we just need to continue to put Waterford out there, show them that we're open for business, that we're a tourist. We have everything. We have whether it is the beaches or the rivers or the mountains. It's here, and come along.
David McCoy from Waterford Crystal is the chair of Visit Waterford. He says they are working with US company Travelzoo to bring in more tourists during the off-season.
Who target consumers who want to take vacation between October and March. And part of those initiatives are you work with Fall to Ireland, you work with the destination, you put some funds together to target those consumers. And in times where it could be quiet, you get a lot of tourists coming through, and a lot of the attractions and hotels who are part of that initiative will see the benefit of that between here and March.
And finally, there was a packed house in Garter Lane last night for the opening performance of The Red Iron. Written, produced and directed by Jim Nolan, it's being described as a love story to Waterford. It's set on the Red Iron Bridge and tells the story of 6 friends from the city who are gathered after a friend's funeral. The play is running for 3 weeks at Garter Lane. These audience members loved it.
Blown away, I'll be quite honest, which is the mix of emotions, friendships, betrayal, love, respect, empathy, you name it, everything was in there. But for me, the most of all is that Jim actually caught the passion of growing up in Waterford back in those old days.
I mean, it's such a mixture of great fun, great crack. It helps if you're a local to know all the local places. And then the end of it, it's really poignant. You know, I think it's very well written and the actors were super. I mean, you know, it was a super play. And as for the stage, you really felt like you were actually on the bridge. It was super.
WLR Sport.
Soccer first, and Waterford's Lee O'Connor will make his senior debut for the Republic of Ireland against New Zealand tomorrow night. The former Villa defender learned his trade in Connors Park before going on to Manchester United and then being transferred to Scottish Premier League club Celtic. Also, Tottenham youngster Troy Parrott will make his start, while Shamrock Rovers midfielder Jack Byrne is also set to start. Manager Mick McCarthy is hoping that Troy Parrott can follow in the footsteps of Robbie Keane, who was 17 when he made his debut.
It takes a special kind when they are pitched in to thrive, to do well, to make an impression, a good impression, impress everybody. And I hope that's going to be the case with Troy. I mean, Robbie did it instantly and continued to do it, of course, for how many years and how many caps and how many goals.
Meanwhile, the Republic of Ireland under-19's Euro 2020 qualifier away to Switzerland has been postponed until tomorrow due to snow in Salzburg earlier. Staying with soccer, Liverpool forward Mo Salah has been ruled out of Egypt's upcoming matches against Kenya and Comoros. The African Nations FA tweeted a picture of Salah in a protective boot. He was substituted in Sunday's win over Manchester City in the Premier League and iced his ankle on the bench. Michael Walsh, Waterford FC kit manager, yesterday received a Volunteer in Sport award from Mary O'Connor, the chief executive of the Federation of Irish Sport, at a function in Farmley House in the Phoenix Park in Dublin. He's served the Blues for an unbroken 55 years. Speaking to WLR Sport, he said he had no idea that he'd been nominated for the prestigious award.
It was, and they came out of the blue. I didn't even know I was after being nominated for it. Pauline Up Sports Partnership was the instigator in putting me forward for it. I wouldn't be able to do it only for all the other people that helped me, both managers, directors, like Edo, Mayor, Richard, Pascal Keane, and they all help to make your job a lot easier.
Congratulations to Michael Walsh there. Finally, Jason Smith is through to this afternoon's T13 100 metres final at the World Para-Athletics Championships. The five-time Paralympic champion clocked 10.84 seconds of winning his heat in Dubai this morning, and he'll be looking to land a fifth world medal later. That's the latest on WLR. Our next bulletin is at 2.